I've been a proud owner of the Oculus Quest 2 for some time now, and I've enjoyed my time with it. I do play games on it as often as possible, and there are 5 games in particular that do keep me playing for times on end. So these are going to be my top 5 favorite games on the Oculus Quest store specifically. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive right in. Before we continue, I just wanted to remind you that we have a Twitch channel where we stream every Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. and to 10 p.m. Eastern time, so why not go ahead and drop a follow? And also don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and also make sure to check out the merch store. There's plenty of black and white sweetness to choose from up there, so go ahead and check that out. And then make sure to take a look at the podcast as well, as the podcast always goes live every Wednesday and Sunday. And with that said, enough rambling, let us get straight into the video. So game number 1 is honestly probably an obvious one considering how much people love this game in general, and this is going to be Super Hot VR. I spent a lot of time playing this game on the Rift S before I sold it, and now I've been playing it with more freedom on the Quest 2 since you don't have to have that cable hanging behind your back or anything like that. You can play completely untethered, as I have been. And the controls are exactly the same as before, so it was very simple to just jump back into the groove of playing this game. Now, the first-person perspective works much better in VR, in my opinion, than it does otherwise, and this definitely is a game that you want to play like this if you can. And the combat system is very effective and intuitive, and since you're free from any wires at all, I mean, I've got a ton of freedom to keep me completely immersed in combat. And as many of you already know, this game moves at the speed that you do. So in other words, the faster that you move, or the more that you move in general, then the faster your enemies will react, and the faster you are going to have to react to their movements as well, and make sure that you can defend yourself, which is what makes this game still challenging at times, but always a treat to play through. This game really is a workout, like a lot of the VR games that I'm going to be presenting to you today, and I'm really not kidding. It is pretty good cardio since you're going to be moving a lot, and the headset helps you sweat too. So yeah, this game retails for about $25. Next up is one that I was very lukewarm about, but I ended up warming up to it nonetheless, and this is going to be Death Unchained. This game does give a lot of Dark Souls vibes for sure, not just because of the difficulty, but also because of the grim medieval setting. This is a first-person shooter where you only get 2 weapons, a bow and a crossbow, after you've played enough to unlock it, that is, because you do start off with just a bow. That's the last weapon that you unlock, and the first one as well in this game, and I did not like that. That was pretty much the end of the line regarding upgrades to equipment, and I was really hoping that this would eventually turn into a sword, but no. This game has 2 forms of moving around, one via teleportation and another is going to be through just walking around just by pushing your joystick forward. I did find myself wanting to do manual walks because I suck at using that stone that helps you escape or just run away. It always disappears in my hand. Even if I try to time the throw correctly, it really doesn't matter. Every time that I try to use it and I get swarmed, it always fails on me. But the walking is pretty slow, and manually turning around can definitely cause some motion sickness, so I would probably just stick to teleportation if possible. In this game, you do have to be very quick on your feet and recognize when you're outmatched so that you're able to run away. In other words, so that your run doesn't end early. I've never made it to the first boss through any attempts, and the game does get harder the more that you progress. However, each time I start this game, I do end up playing it for at least 2 hours before I realize that I have work to do, and it's difficult for me to immerse myself this much into any game as much as I have with Death Unchained. Since we were kind of on the topic of working out too, this game is definitely shoulder workout more than anything, but you probably won't be sweating a lot here. This game retails for about $30, and there's some free content actually coming fairly soon, so I do recommend that you do keep an eye out for that, and I do think that it is a pretty good value. It is going to come in the form of DLC, so yeah, go for it. Next up is going to be Beat Saber, and Beat Saber is Beat Saber. This is one of the most, if not the most popular game on the entire VR platform right now, because it is very addicting, if I'm completely frank. They have a bunch of songs for you to crush some projectiles to, and it sort of feels like combat because you are swinging your arms around so much. This game, as I'm sure you can tell from the gameplay, is a ton of fun and very easy to get into, especially if you like the songs available, but I think that you're bound to like at least a few of these songs, just considering that there's going to be a selection of different music that you can pick that'll suit you best. This is probably the game that replaces Guitar Hero and Rock Band completely, and I always miss playing those games since I love music very, very, very dearly, even if I can't play the guitar that I tend to keep back there. But this is still a very cool experience that many people will vouch for. This game does retail for about $30. And now, the Blair Witch game is pretty cool. I've never watched the film, so I wonder what it would be like to have my first Blair Witch experience at all be in VR. So I went ahead and bought this game, and while I'm going to keep things as spoiler-free as possible here, it is pretty cool to be in the perspective of the detective, and I do enjoy having your dog as an actual game mechanic, one that helps you find clues and much more than that. Sure, it's certainly not one of the most workout-intensive games here by any means, and this is not going to be a game that is really for everybody either, but it is more so of just an experience worth having, I would say. The graphics are pretty good, and the controls are very intuitive without a doubt. This won't be a game for everyone, but it is one that I'm still enjoying to this day since I haven't been playing too much of it due to time constraints, of course, but it has me hooked without a doubt, and I can't wait to finish it. This game retails for about $30 as well. And the last game on this list so far is Until They Fall. This game is certainly another workout, and while I'm not a big fan of the aesthetic of the game since I think it looks a little too Fortnite-esque, it is very fun to play nonetheless, and it certainly gets challenging as you move forward. Your job is to parry, slice and dice, teleport to your opponents and stun them to start hacking and slashing yet again. It is just going to be a lot of fun. As you move forward, you can unlock new weapons, and then you have moments actually where you do have to dodge instead of just parrying. So this game does require a lot of your attention, but also your entire body to mobile enough to move around and be fast enough to parry or dodge attacks. You also have to exploit the hell out of your attack windows when you get them. This game is very exciting to play, and one of those games that I can easily play for many hours on end without keeping into consideration that battery life is a thing on the Quest 2, of course. And this game will definitely have you sweating, and this is actually probably one of the more workout intensive games that I have if you are looking to sweat a lot, but if you need a really good shoulder workout, Unchained is probably going to be a better option. This game also retails for $30 and is definitely worth every penny from my experience. So these have been the best games on the Oculus Quest 2, or I should say my top 5 so far. These are the best games that I spent the most time playing when I log onto my Quest 2, and I know that I still have a lot more to try out, especially as they continue to add more games on the Quest Store. And with that said, what are your favorite games on the Quest 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll be sure to try some of those games out, and I'll pick my favorites among these for a future update of this video, so that when I announce more games and there are some of the best on the market, I can keep your recommendations in mind. And if you're interested in purchasing an Oculus Quest 2, then I will be making sure to leave affiliate links down to Amazon in the description. I am going to recommend that you go with the 64 gig version because these games are really tiny, honestly, and I don't think that you're going to make use of 256 gigs, and 64 gigs honestly has been plenty for me, so I would save myself $100 and go for that. However, if you are trying to find some sales currently on the Oculus Quest 2, Luster is actually a service that can help you out quite a lot in that regard because it does help you find sales online. However, it will show you where it tends to be the cheapest, so it's not just on Amazon. I definitely recommend it. However, if you did decide that you definitely want the Oculus Quest 2 and just are a little bit afraid of paying for it outright, there's going to be Abundant, which is going to allow you to finance the Oculus Quest 2. You do not need a credit card of your own, and you do get to do financing on something like that, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to be leaving links to all of these down below. If you use any of my links, I get a small commission that does help the channel out quite a bit, so I would appreciate that quite a bit. And also do make sure to stop by the Tech Summit podcast that does go live every week as we talk about that, so do make sure to subscribe for that. And if you would like to listen to us on any of the official podcasting platforms, or like an audio format, then I'm going to be leaving links to pretty much everywhere that we are at, things like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Anchor, etc. And Also, don't forget that I like to stream on Twitch every Friday and Saturday. Links to that are going to be down below. I like to answer questions and interact with you guys, and you're going to find the rest of my social media here, like my Instagram and my Twitter. But with that said, this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy.